Have you ever thought that I would live forever? Actually, you don't think like that because, when you think that you're going to live forever, that's only when you're young. But when you're approaching 89 years old or 90 some odd years old, to live to 100, hey, that is a phenomenon in of itself. To 100 years, and maybe, and that's a big maybe, because we all want to live a long time, and that's provided that we have the wherewithal to do so. And that's always the big question. Do we have the wherewithal? Because, like the old country song says, everybody wants to go to heaven, but not today. So then, how are we going to get to be 100? And also, in doing so, are we ready to take the challenge that's necessary for us to be there? That's the question. Unless you have the right genes and you're doing the right thing, longevity in of itself is not an issue. But most of us don't have the right genes. And no matter what we do, we have to live from day to day thinking about how we will reach that 100-year-old marker. So, that being said, where are all the people who are living to be 100? Here's a map of the area of the people where they live to be 100. These people are all over the place. They are located in the West Coast. They're located in the East Coast in the United States. Look at the blue signs. Most of them, and they are labeled, like for example, number one. Number one is the group of people that are in the European country, followed by the United States. Number two in California, and it just kind of goes back and forth. And if you notice the blue zone, the zone where all of these people are living, you can tell that there's a reason for that. Now, the concept of living to be 100, if you just let it flow through your mind, and says, basically, hey, I don't want to live to be 100. And the problem with us when we say we don't want to live to be 100 is the fact that we see so many of our friends at the nursing home living in a vegetable state. And when they do that, they barely exist. Their body is still being sustained. The mind is gone. And a lot of times their spirit is broken. They don't know how to laugh, sing, enjoy the life through its possibilities now. Back in the old days when the Social Security system was set up through President Roosevelt, he needed a model. The model he got was the one from the railroad pension plan, where people would retire at 65, and when they get to be 67, they were gone. But that's not the case today. Today, we live to be 80 or 90 years old, maybe even 100. So, that being said, we have to plan on what we will do once we get to that point of longevity and how we're going to survive. So, let's focus in on some of these concepts now. The body needs, it's got to stay healthy. You got to have a very sharp mind, and your spirit. There are some people in nursing homes that will tell you, hey, I just don't want to live anymore. And their spirit is gone. They don't laugh. They may be crying most of the time in the sense that they always feel sorry for themselves, but their spirit is kind of blown and gone. So it really takes this triangle of the mind, the body, and the spirit to obtain this longevity phenomena that we talk about. Now, most of the things that we learn about really kind of comes from the societies that have been specializing in longevity for such a long time. I take a lot of this concept that we have from the Taoists, for example. That the Taoists would say, oh yeah, we have longevity and you can achieve longevity. How? Well, they give you 5 tenements, 5 ideas to work with so that you can achieve what they think is the way in which to live. Okay? Now the issue is, what is it? What will help me obtain this concept of longevity? Well, they to breathing. Just think about it. If you stop breathing for 10 minutes, would you ever reach this idea of longevity? I don't think so. Breathing is extremely important. Every breath you take. At 100, how many breaths would you take? You know, I was thinking, if a person was 10 years old and he pays attention to his existence and has one thought a day, one thought, just one a thought a day at the age of 10, by the time he reaches 100 years old, he would have 32,950 thoughts in his life that he can account for. But anyway, breathing is one of the ways. Okay? So, breathing is one of the things that the Taoists, or the people who are concerned with longevity, another thing they focus on is food, eating, and eating the right types of food. That is important to them. Okay? So, that being said, then what else? Well, obviously, exercise. Okay? How you exercise, how you move will determine where you will live or whether you will live to be 100. Because there are a lot of people today. I saw on the show the other day where this young lady was 15 years old and she was near para-professional in regards to her exercise and dancing. But she had an accident, and at 15, all of her muscle went into atrophy. And the reason for that, obviously, is non-movement. Another thing that they talk about, the Taoists that is, in regards to longevity, is the fact that you need to have the waste material inside of your body leave your body. Okay? Now, if you think about it, there's 3 major parts in our body. It's the head, the lung and heart area, and the digestive system. You know, if you amputate the arm or the leg, you can still survive, but if you cut off the head or take out the lung and heart, you're a goner. Plus, also, if your intestines and all of the necessary digestive system that feeds your body is gone, then you're out of luck. So excretion is another part of the concept of longevity. Now, this last part that they talk about is sex. Then you say, well, what about sex? Well, basically what it amounts to is that many of us, even though we don't think about it, the concept of being by yourself is very easy. But when you're not associated with other people and you constantly think about the fact, if I had my children over, they would cause me to be more involved in society. They stimulate you. They get you all excited in regards to staying alive. Loma Linda is one of the cities out in California that is noted for having people who live to be about 100 years old. And in this area, they tested these people out to determine what they did in order to live to be 100. Now, one thing they talked about, obviously, is the right food. Another they talk about is exercise. The third thing they talked about, and there was a 96-year-old man and a 93-year-old woman there, and they looked at each other very shyly and said, sex. And being rather embarrassed about it, they said, this is the thing that sustains us and keeps us going. So, the factors that we talked about is, for longevity, you have sex. you have food, you have breathing, and you have excretion and exercise. Keep all of this in mind when you are pursuing this concept of longevity.